everybody. Welcome to Directly to You. This is 114th episode. I am AJ of fanatixfour, and I am joined by Luis.
Hello.
Luis, his channel.
My channel.
Yeah, that is just his name. Linked in the description. Usually I'm joined by Parker, but some stuff came up and he can't join me. But you can support me and Parker and our channel by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour or twitch.tv/fanatixfour and giving us $4.99 a month. For that, you get loyalty badges, you get exclusive emotes, you get gaming time with us, you get free Switch keys from time to time, you get access to our supporters-only Discord, where you can talk to Mega Man about when to play Smash Brothers. Sometimes everybody wants to play Valorant. It's real random. You can play whatever you want. And if you don't want to join our supporters-only Discord, you can join our regular Discord and do the same thing, but less exclusive and easy, because people are all over the place on the regular Discord. It's like it's not as consistent. So that's the housekeeping stuff. But other than that, we play video games here. Have you played any video games recently, Luis?
I feel like as of this week, I got back into video games because I think the last big thing I had to review was Final Fantasy VII. So I played that whenever that came out, which was end of the last month, I think.
Yeah.
And then there was kind of a dry spell, right? There was nothing out for a while. Right now I'm playing, or I just finished an indie game called Virtuaverse, which is a point-and-click cyberpunk adventure game. I was writing a review
platform?
I believe it's just PC and Mac right now. I don't know if it comes to console at some other point, but it's just on Steam right now. It's pretty interesting so far. I think a lot of games this year are taking that cyberpunk setting. And I thought this was interesting because it was applying it to a point-and-click adventure as opposed to a lot of the other games are using it for first person or more RPGs. And so I wanted to try it out. My review on that will probably be out later this week. But I feel like that's the thing I've been playing the most outside of some Warzone matches, Valorant here and there.
Gotcha.
What about you?
For me, I've really been playing my regular stuff. Everybody knows I play Smash Brothers a lot. But the new thing that I started playing is What the Golf.
Did you get that code on Switch too?
Yeah.
So that's the thing I'm reviewing after this. So as soon as I'm done with this, I'm starting it.
Right. Did you play it at all, or you're saving it for where you dive deep into the review?
So I haven't played it on my Switch, but I played it through on my iPad when I had an iPad because it's part of the Apple Arcade when that launched last year.
Right.
But this Switch version has co-op play, and I think it might have new levels. I haven't turned it on to actually check, but I know that its big thing on Switch is multiplayer. Yeah.
Did the iOS version have the Mario homage section?
I don't think so. So I think that's more just particularly to the Switch release. Gotcha. But that was kind of a hidden drop because it's out next week, right?
Yeah. I just randomly got an email from Nick Verge, and he was like, "Hey, I met you at PAX. You want to play this game?" I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm down." And then I checked it out. I played it for an hour, just to get a feel of it. And then I got to that part. Well, first, I saw it in the indie showcase or direct or wherever they announced it for Switch. And I was like, okay, it's a golf game. I didn't really pay attention to it outside of the fact that it's a golf game. Golf games are neat. That's cool. So when I started playing it, I did the little intro section, and it's just straight up regular golf in that first little bit. And then it transitions to the more wacky stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, I get what this game is now.
Yeah, pretty much the only part of golf that's actually golf is the first level, and everything else is completely different.
Exactly.
It's really wacky. It kind of tricks you that way.
Then it goes just wild. It's oh no, you're not the person. You're the golf club. It's so crazy. All the random little stuff. And then once I got to that Mario bit, I was like, oh, okay, this goes real wild. Because then there's other 2D sections, and then it just completely flips on its head every little new section. And that
I'm excited to jump into it because I've been in quarantine with my girlfriend, so I think I'm gonna try out the co-op mode with her.
Yeah, I need to check that out next, the multiplayer stuff, because I didn't even know that was a new thing for Switch only.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could technically, do it with iOS devices, but it's not really a feature in that.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So it's just better suited because of the platform itself.
Yeah, I guess they really want to focus on the Joy-Con play.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, that's all that you've been playing?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
I feel like I haven't had a backlog to get back to, so I think I'm good right now. I've been wanting to play Far Cry 3, but I played that a long time ago.
Oh wow. Isn't there a rumor that they're remastering that or something like that?
I think it is remastered on consoles.
Oh, they already remastered.
I think it's just like the like the PC version upscaled.
Oh, okay.
For current
I thought they were going to do like a whole thing because that game came out like what, over 10 years ago now.
Yeah, was it? I think it was. Yeah, around
like
that time. It definitely came out on PS3 and
like
360.
Yeah.
That's like one game I would really want to play on Switch. Seeing that like the BioShock collection is coming to Switch, I feel like Far Cry 3 would be really good.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I never checked that game out because, like, I mean, I'm a multi-console owner. Like, I have everything, and I've pretty much always had everything. But I'm not really huge on most third-party stuff, so I missed out on that. I'd be down to check it out on Switch, though.
I think it's probably the best narrative.
See when it dropped. Oh no, it was 2012.
2012, so almost a decade old. But I think it's one of the best written Far Cry games. Its villain is very great. I love him.
It definitely seems like the type of game or the type of part of a franchise where everything from there gets based off of that.
Yeah, it's very much
it came to Far Cry 3, and then everything else was like, oh, it's Far Cry 3, but a little bit better than that now.
New places, new locations.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that. But we can get into the news now, since there's not really anything new to play currently that's available. But we got this surprise drop of Paper Mario: The Origami King, which is coming to Switch in July.
Yeah,
July 17th.
Kind of shadow announced,
which is wild.
Randomly yesterday.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was not expecting that. And it was like, I was literally, a lot of times this will happen. Like Nintendo will announce something and I'm like knee deep in a video talking about something completely different. Well, this time it just so happened on like lineup. But I was making a video, which we'll get to after the news, but I was making a video about like games that Nintendo could make with their franchises that could appeal to the Animal Crossing fan base, like the new Animal Crossing fans that weren't already Switch owners beforehand. And then this game got announced, and I was like, oh shoot, because it was rumored for a while that we would get a Paper Mario game. And this also has other implications that because this was announced, that gives more credence to like the ports of and the remasters and all that other stuff of the other Mario games for the 35th anniversary.
I woke up to this news, not even by the announcement, but like I'm in a group Twitter DM chat with a bunch of other Nintendo brand ambassadors. And so I woke up to like a text saying like, oh, did you guys hear about the new Paper Mario? And I thought it was a rumor or something. And I like checked Twitter and it's like the announcement trailer. I woke up like 30 minutes after it came out. So I was like completely caught off guard. And I woke up to that news with like 30 DMs in the group chat, all talking about it at the same time.
That's wild.
I
need to get hooked up with that group DM. I'm a brand ambassador.
I think Roger's in charge of it.
Oh, okay. I haven't had the chance to meet him in person yet.
Yeah, I mean E3's canceled, so who knows when that'll happen again.
Yeah, rip dude. You know what? This is what's going to happen after all this stuff. Nintendo's going to just bring back Space World, and then we'll do it there.
It'll be a digital event now.
Yeah. Oh, that would be crazy if they just were like, all right, it doesn't even matter if civilization's back to normal. Everything's just still digital because it works that way. Because they're doing like demos and stuff digitally now too, right? Like they like for Xenoblade. They did like Zoom calls.
Yeah, so they did. I don't know because I wasn't invited to that preview event. I don't know how that works exactly. Because I think I saw Roger do the preview event, but I think they played it in front of him.
Oh,
I'm not sure. I don't know how the logistics of that would work unless they're like giving.
Unless they like sent them a demo, yeah.
But it seems unlike Nintendo to do that, knowing their the background of them.
Yeah. That's what I was like. What? Like that's crazy. They was talking about that they video called or whatever for the demo. But yeah, like what's like your background with Paper Mario in general? Like, are you a pretty big Paper Mario fan, or?
I think I'm a bigger fan of its writing than I am like its gameplay.
Right.
Because I think it's like Nintendo when they're more self-aware of themselves and like the absurdity of Mario as a character. I played Color Splash. I played Sticker Star because I know a lot of people like. I feel a lot of people have a lot of opinions on Sticker Star and Color Splash, but then didn't play either one.
We'll get to that. We'll get to those in the comments.
Because I know so many people who are like, "Oh, like Sticker Star sucked," and I'm like, "Oh, did you buy them?" Like, no, I just saw like videos of it. And I'm like,
I just heard Game Explain say that they didn't like it, so I don't like it either.
Yeah. I think there's faults to both of them, but I don't think they're as bad as everyone made them out to be.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you played them and you hated them, fair.
Right.
But I think I enjoyed some aspects of them, but I think, it's commonly said that the first two games are pretty much like the best ones, and I would agree.
Right. I think that I feel similar as far as like my the general appeal for Paper Mario for me is the writing and the story and all that stuff, and that much is consistent throughout the series. So I liked the like Sticker Star and Color Splash and all that stuff, but I do get why people don't like Color Splash and Sticker Star. And that's because of like the shift to the battle system and stuff like that. And that's really just it. It's the fact that they changed the battle system and people are like, nah, I'm not down for that. I've seen, because I've made a video about the possibility of this happening before this got announced. And people were basically saying that like they wanted to go more to a game that's like just entirely based around the story rather than like the mechanics and the mechanics influencing the story itself. And this seems like it's more in that direction. It could, it could be a mechanics thing too, considering the fact that, it's origami. Origami could play into the mechanics of the game on a gameplay level. But it more so sounds like this is of reference to whoever the big bad is,
Yeah. I guess the way it doesn't affect me or doesn't normally turn me off as much is because I do find my appeal of those games being the narrative more than its gameplay. So,
right.
Sure, the gameplay changes with every other game, but as long as the story is good, I don't mind too much normally. I'll just like adapt to whatever the gameplay is. But it's fine to have a preference in that aspect. I think they do a good job of at least crafting the story around like different paper concepts. Like this time it is origami folding, but the last one was like the desaturation of things, and then the last one was, before that was like stickers. I think it's interesting how they take those gameplay mechanics and change it up, and then also the story's influenced by them. So I always like that.
Yeah.
Like the little
it's a very like Nintendo way to do it, because like Splatoon, right, is a good example of that. Like, okay, we have this gameplay loop. What type of creature would fit that, like what fits that gameplay loop? It's like, oh, squids, and then they go off the rails with that too, because it's like, oh, well, now we have ink and now they can swim, and like that whole thing. The fact that it's paper, and that's like genius for the long term, because there's so much stuff that you can do with paper. Like there could be a freaking paper mache Paper Mario game, there's just so much stuff that they can do moving forward, and I'm interested to see specifically what they do with origami.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But judging the trailer that came out, it looks like they might bring partners back too in terms of a battle system.
Yeah.
So,
there was like that Chinese trailer.
Hopeful. Yeah.
There
was
like that
more
Chinese
hopeful
trailer that they pulled
for people who are like, oh, I really just want like 64 or the GameCube version back.
Like, yeah, just give me the 64 version again, but new story, new characters is the general consensus on that.
Exactly. What do you think of the chances of him or Paper Mario joining Smash now? That
is. See, I don't know. Like, I think that would both make people happy and mad at the same time, because they do not like the Smash core fan base is not down with first party Nintendo stuff being in the game at this point. They want every new fighter to be a third party rep that never is, like, we never would have thought. They want everything to be Cloud. They want everything to be, like Joker and stuff like that. So on that level, I think people wouldn't be very happy. But on another level, I think that it could be interesting because, like, we've always had Mario and also Dr. Mario, who are just variations of the same concept. But Dr. Mario could, Paper Mario could take the Mario concept and like run with it and take it in a whole nother direction, and even like reference other parts of the Mario world that these characters, like their kit doesn't really play well with. Regular Mario doesn't really have anything to do with like hammers and like that sort of thing.
I think like he would be a much more unique character as opposed to like, let's say Mario, Dr. Mario, or Link and Toon
Link. Yeah, he would be like a how regular Link is in this game, like how they had the remote bombs and stuff like that. How he varies a lot more from the other two Links. Because they're pretty much just carbon copies of each other with variations on how their moves work. Like they're the same move, but they function differently.
But I'm hopeful for it. It seems like Nintendo seems to integrate like characters with their franchises whenever there's a big release. So it seems like they were doing that ARMS thing, like they did that not test fire, but that demo for online subscribers, and then they announced that there's going to be an ARMS fighter at some point in the future.
Yeah, that seems to be like a big thing now, especially with Smash Brothers, because before it was like I remember again, OG, like long time ago when we first started this channel, I made a video about like why isn't Smash Brothers just a platform? Like we've already seen like anecdotal evidence that they can use the game to propel their other franchises that are lesser known, like Fire Emblem, like Earthbound, and all the other stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, arguably that made Fire Emblem like a thing in the West.
Yeah. Yup. And same could be said about Mother and Earthbound, right? Like obviously not in Japan because like it was a known quantity there, but it definitely made it a bigger deal in Japan.
Yeah. I mean, it made the whole like Mother 3 thing a meme here.
Yeah, exactly. Like we didn't even like what even was Mother 3? Like Lucas got added to the game post everybody knowing that's from the first two Smash Brothers games, and still people didn't know that Mother 3 was a game that came out. Granted, it came out relatively close to when Smash Brawl came out. It was like what, like a year or two beforehand, or maybe even.
I think so. That would have been 2008 for us.
Yeah.
March 2008.
Right.
I don't know why I distinctly remember that date.
Because that game was wild, man. Even though, like in hindsight, people don't really like it as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, tangent aside, I want to try to get some of the questions. Usually, we save all the questions for Q&A. But since there's a lot of Paper Mario questions, I want to try to go through and answer them here since it just makes sense. In the YouTube community post that I did for this, Cool comments and says, I watched a trailer for the new Paper Mario game, and I think it looks like it's going to be a really fun game. I never played a Paper Mario game, so can you explain why exactly people keep saying that the last one or two games were disappointing? What exactly changed, and what are you guys' opinion on the series as a whole? Well, we kind of answered that.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of did.
It's mostly just the battle system that changed for the general public. They're like, nah, we don't like this card stuff, or which I mean, Sticker Star was kind of like a card system a little bit. So yeah, it's really just that they want the like if you ever played the South Park like Stick of Truth, they want that battle system back because South Park was like, oh, this battle system is great, we'll take that, and Nintendo's like, whatever. You know, like we're not going back to that still.
Even South Park changed it for the sequel too, because they then switched it with like a grid system for the sequel.
Right.
Yeah.
I
forget that's on Switch now too.
That's true. Is the second one on Switch? I know.
I think both of them are.
Yeah. Okay. Because I remember the first one got released. I think actually the first one got released after the second one. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, it may have been one of those like the sequel or the first one is like a $10 purchase, while the sequel was like a $40 purchase or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I think the appeal of the series is like writing and Nintendo being like self-aware of itself. Like they make a lot of jokes about like the existence of like the Mushroom Kingdom and how things in itself are absurd. They mix in a lot of paper puns because it is a paper game. Yeah,
and it's really the only place outside of, I'd say, maybe Sunshine, where there's like more direct storytelling within the Mario world. Because everything else is like more environmental storytelling and like contextual, where it's like, oh, Mario's angry because he looks angry, you know. But like in this game, people discuss things. It's not just a sentence here or there in a cutscene. The game is like at least 40% dialogue, if not more than that. So yeah, I think that's the appeal of it. If you really want to like get into like a narrative Mario game, if that was ever something you wanted, this is your game. Chris DeBute also asks, since the new Paper Mario trailer is out and there were no cards in sight for the battle system, do you think Nintendo is finally giving us the battle system we want? And then Alex Blur also asked a similar question, and he said, looking at some of the gameplay of the Paper Mario trailer in the Game Explain video, how do you guys think this combat system works? I think that from the gameplay that Alex Blur is talking about, yes, it's like more of a return to form to the battle system. I don't know if it's going to be the same. Knowing Nintendo, it's probably going to be like an elevated version of that in some way. We didn't really get enough footage for me to infer what exactly they changed about it. Maybe you caught something that I didn't.
I feel like the battle systems are going to be the same for the most part with some sort of modifier on it. If anything, I think the origami system will play some sort of part. Like part of me thought that it would be used as like different forms of characters, but then also considering that the narrative says that origamis are essentially like bad things or like villains in this game, maybe it's more like the villains transform using origamis to get stronger or something like that.
Right.
But in terms of the battle system on our end, I think it's going to be very similar, if not for maybe like some sort of pun with the origamis in there or something.
Yeah.
Maybe you like reshape items to work differently during battles or something.
Yeah, like maybe that's like the level up system for like your weapon or something, or your attacks. And also, I mean, you mentioned that it seems more like the origami thing is more for the bad guys.
Yeah.
This game or this franchise has a history of like characters that we traditionally view as bad and turning them into comrades, right? Like
Goombas. I mean, it seems like Bowser's on our side this time, and we're like against Peach and the Origami King, or maybe it isn't Peach. Maybe it's like someone else pretending to be Peach.
Maybe Bowser and Peach Freaky Fridays. We just don't know it yet, dude.
Maybe.
And then Chris Dubuque continued and said, "If you played Color Splash, did you like the cards in the battle system? I didn't hate it, but I wasn't in love with it. With the new Paper Mario game being true for Mario's 35th anniversary leak, how do you think the rest of the leak/rumors will hold up now?" So yeah, we talked a little bit about that. I'm not a huge fan of the other battle systems. It was just there, you know, like it's kind of how I feel about the Pokemon battle system, where it's like it's fine, but I'm mostly here for everything else in Pokemon than the battle system. I'm not like I'm playing this because I feel challenged by the battle. It's like I'm playing this because I like the world and the characters in this game.
Yeah. I think I feel the same way. I think I tolerated the battle systems, but I didn't hate it as much as like everyone else seemed to.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I think it's just like another alternative, but I think there are better executions of it. And I would agree that with most people that it's like the first two games. But I mean, I'm excited to see how they interpret this one. It seems like it's going to be similar to the very first two games, but knowing Nintendo, I know there's like some sort of like spin on it this time. There has to be something with the origami thing.
They did something different. Like they had to. Especially since like this Paper Mario game feels like it's on that trend of like the other like big releases. I don't know if this is their holiday play. I kind of doubt it because this is a July game.
Yeah, I mean we're also like less than 2 months away.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
just about 2 months away. So like either way, we'll find out what this is like very soon.
Yeah, that's true. If we do end up getting some sort of like E3 replacement, I know they said that they're not doing anything, or there's rumors, I guess. I don't know if they directly announced
it. No, it was a rumor, but I mean
a rumor that they're not doing anything in June as a placeholder for E3. But yeah, I'm sure
I guess that's not sure to give away that they're not doing anything at all, because I mean that was a week ago, and then the following week they announced
we got something. So yeah, exactly. So maybe we'll find out more in detail what this game is around then. Sardi says, how would you rank the old Paper Marios, and what mechanics do you hope make a return or are left out? Well, to answer the rest of Chris Dubuque's question before we go into that, she said, how do you think the rest of the rumors will play out? I don't know. I think that they're more likely now, but I still don't. She said, hold up now, not play out. But I still don't know how they're going to like execute it. You know, like I don't know if they're going to do like a All-Stars pack or something like that, right? Or if they're going to release all of them separately or bundle some of them strategically, where it's like, oh, you'll get Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 in one bundle, and you'll.
The initial rumors said it would be like remakes, right?
Yeah,
like full-blown remakes.
Yeah. Well, I think they said some of them would be full-blown remakes, and then others, they were more cagey about it. Like, we could maybe see like the Galaxy games, and they just be like the NVIDIA Shield ports. You know how they're just like up-res.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I always assumed that Nintendo would just do like the Kirby collection or the All-Stars thing, where it's just like quote unquote the ROMs or the ISOs.
Yeah.
Just in a bundle with a very nice UI presentation.
That's what I figured too. Like if they're going to release them all separately, then it will probably be like more so the full blown like remakes. Maybe not so much. Let's see. Maybe not so much like Final Fantasy VII levels of remake, but more so like Wind Waker, where they like change out some textures and some lighting effects.
I think it would be like the Final Fantasy VII classic port onto new consoles where it's just like, it's HD and you can like fast forward through text, but quality of life changes to the game itself.
Mm-hmm. Like if we get them all in one thing, that's definitely what it's going to be. There's no way they completely remake anything and bundle it all like that. Those are $60 releases.
It seems weird for them to also release like them individually for like $10 to $20. It seems like more like they would release them all under $60.
Right. So that's that one. And then Sardi said about how we rank the old Paper Marios. I don't know. I think that it's just kind of tiers. I think that there's no real way for me to say, like, I don't know which one I prefer more out of the N64 one and the GameCube one, but those are my two favorite ones. And then I would say Super Paper Mario, and then Color Splash, and then Sticker Star.
I think I'm in the same order. Wasn't there also a Paper Mario cross Mario and Luigi RPG game on 3DS?
Oh yeah, I never played that one though, so I can't.
Me either.
I can't count that one. I can't rank that. So we'll have to leave that up to the comments to decide where that goes.
Yeah, but I think we have a similar ranking. That's exactly what I would do. But I guess I want to point that out in case anyone's like, you forgot the other one.
So it's unanimous, yeah. Because I wasn't even thinking about that, and it's funny because it's like I saw somebody tweet about that game right before we started recording, where they were like, "Oh, anybody remember this?" Like, and they weren't really like saying like, "Oh, this one was good" or anything like that, but they were more so like gesturing like, hey, what happens to the Mario and Luigi series? Like that whole thing.
Yeah, for me, one recent thing I forgot was like that there was two Woolly Yoshi games, or like quote unquote like in the same Woolly World universe Yoshi games.
You're talking about like the Wii U one, and then they
I completely forgot that they're like different games.
Are they? I didn't even know that. I thought that it was just like the same game with some extra.
No, it's two. I forgot that existed, and then the Woolly World I think came to 3DS.
Yeah. That's what I thought you were saying. I thought you were saying that you didn't know that there were two Woolly World releases, but you're saying that you didn't know that there was Crafted World and also Woolly World.
Yeah, I forgot. I think I forgot Woolly World existed for a while.
Yeah. I never played it on 3DS, but I did play Woolly World on Wii U. So I think there was like some extra content in the 3DS one, like they added Poochie or something like that in the 3DS one. But I don't know. I didn't play that. There's a trend here. I don't really play 3DS games that much.
I just gave mine away to my sister. Like,
oh my! I still have my 3DS over there somewhere.
Because it's really just like a console with all my review copies downloaded onto it, and she's been wanting to play Animal Crossing, so I just gave her that a new leaf, and then
that's huge. That's huge. Like, do people like line up for your stuff the way that they do me? where it's like, oh, you get all these like free games or whatever. Like, when you're done with this console, can I have it?
Pretty much anytime I get a multiplayer game that when a company sends me 2 copies of a game because it's a primarily focused multiplayer game, someone will ask for the other copy.
Right. Like now, because of how our channel works, that's like automatically like Parker's thing. So like whenever it's a Pokemon thing, because Pokemon 2 versions they usually send 2. It's like, okay, well the other one's going to go.
That's the most common one. I think people fight over my extra copy of Pokemon.
Yeah. I found that the best use that you can make of that is to give it to another content creator, so that you can like collaborate with it in some way. But we're on a tangent. Is there any other Paper Mario stuff? Huddy Bear says, from looking at the trailer, what were your thoughts on Paper Mario the Origami King? We kind of broke that down.
Cautiously optimistic for you.
Yeah. Cowboy D5 says, with the Easter egg of the Samus helmet at the end of the Paper Mario trailer, do you think that this was supposed to be a part of a direct and this trailer preceded some kind of Metroid announcement? And if so, what do you predict it would have been? Also, will we see that hypothetical Metroid announcement / trailer this year?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say Prime Collection port, and I'm going to say this year.
The Prime Trilogy?
Yeah. Because, I don't know, if you watch the ending to that trailer, it seems oddly cut where it just kind of fades to black and they just really just logo share.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the gag. It seems like that part was very cut out. It was meant to be part of a direct where normally would fade out and you do like the animation, like the date, slide out the date and everything.
That's like a one more thing sort of transition. Yeah.
It seems oddly cut from a video editor standpoint. So I would say yes. It feels like it was supposed to be a gag into something else or prelude to something else.
Yeah. Also, like, I think it's all in the placement for sure. Because like if that was just like interspliced in the like the trailer, like in the middle of it or whatever, it's like, oh, that's a very like Paper Mario sort of thing to be like referential of other Nintendo things. So it wouldn't really surprise me, but it's definitely, since it was at the end, and it does, like you said, seem like an edited thing where they're like, oh yeah, let's drop this in here so we can transition and say, oh, one more thing, Metroid Prime trilogy, and then maybe like I think the announcement could have possibly been some sort of update, like the main thing of it been like an update on Metroid Prime 4, saying that, hey, it's still ways out, but at least here's like a target render or whatever, and then while you wait, here's the Prime trilogy.
Exactly.
Because I don't know if the Prime trilogy is like enough to like be the ender of a direct, you know. So I think if they were to do that, then it probably has some type of Prime 4 update, and then they package that together with the trilogy. And if that's already ready and that's something that they were going to announce in a direct, I think we'll probably see it this year for sure.
Yeah, I think this summer you'll be seeing a lot of ports in general on Switch from Nintendo.
Yup. Is that all the Paper Mario questions? Yeah, that's all the like direct like Paper Mario stuff. So yeah, we'll come back to the questions in the Q&A segment, but that's all the Paper Mario stuff. Moving on to, speaking of ports, there's another rumor that's been floating around for a while now. I remember like Pierre Schneider like gestured towards it, being like, yeah, like this, hey man, this is happening. Pikmin 3, there's rumors that we'll get a deluxe edition on Switch. I'll ask you the same thing I asked about Paper Mario. Are you big on Paper Mario? I mean, on Pikmin?
I love Pikmin. I think Pikmin 3 was awesome.
Yeah.
I think, oddly enough, it had one of my favorite multiplayers in a Nintendo game, which is like something that series isn't really known for. Right. But yeah, I mean, I heard about this rumor like, I want to say like 2 years ago. And the way I know Nintendo works in the background is that they tend to finish projects pretty early on, but then sit on the projects to sort of market them and, you know, schedule hype or stuff for around the consoles. So I wouldn't be surprised if this game has been done since last year, and we'll probably see it later this year. But like, I'm 100% sure this is going to be made.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird. Well, so before the Switch came out, right, there was like all those rumors that like a lot of the Wii U games would get some sort of like enhanced ports. Like Mario Maker was one of those games, Splatoon was one of those games, Pokken was one of those games, Smash Bros was one of those games. I think the idea of Pikmin might have been floated, but Pikmin 3 seems like a weird thing to put on Switch, just because like it's Pikmin 3 and not like a Pikmin collection or something like that, right?
See, I would think I mean, because they did come out to the GameCube, I would say I would think Pikmin 3 more than the first two, because it had the gamepad controls in mind.
Right.
But then, I mean, you could also argue that 1 and 2 came out on the GameCube, but then like the better version of those came out for the Wii because of the pointer controls.
Right. And I think Pikmin 3 makes sense because it's the best example, at least from what I've experienced, it's the best example of the franchise. But I would just think, with how their marketing usually works, that if they were to do something like this, they would do all three, because it just seems weird to put the third version of something on a platform and just that just seems like a strange choice to make. Like, it would be like if they well, I guess they kind of did that with Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, but Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is like, I think it's different, because it's not Donkey Kong #6 or whatever, right? It's Donkey Kong subtitle.
Yeah, I think if anything, you'll probably see like maybe new maps. I think the last thing that came out of that game was like a free DLC Christmas map for Bingo Battle or something like that. And that was like the year it came out. So maybe we'll see something, maybe like a Splatoon map or something. I don't know, something that integrates with another franchise.
You think we might see like a co-op mode? I think that's pretty big on like Switch versions.
I'm pretty sure there was a co-op mode. Was it? Because you could play with more.
Because I know you could do multiplayer, but I didn't know if there was a co-op mode for like the story, the campaign.
And I don't think it was co-op, but you could definitely switch between multiple characters, which was like the whole
that was
thing
like the thing, because like Alf and Charlie and Brittany, I think.
Yeah, they were all, alpha, beta.
Yeah. I think the last one was Brittany, but I'm not positive.
But I mean, they're also all in Smash, I think, right? So.
I think so. Is Charlie in Smash? I know Alf is. I know Olimar is.
No, it is just Alf. No, I was like, for some reason, I really just like thought it was all three of them. No, it's just Alf.
They might just have like spirits or
Yeah.
something, but I know for sure Alf's in there because that's like a bit. And like competitive Smash, like the top Olimar player, the Buzz or whatever, he's like, nah, I'm not playing Olimar no more. Olimar is a mid tier. I'm playing Alf because Alf's top tier or whatever. Like, so I know Alf is in the game just for that reason. But outside of that, yeah, Pikmin, I'm down. I'll get this game, especially if they add something like a co-op thing. I don't remember if the multiplayer was online or not. Was it?
I don't think so. It was local only.
So make it online. Put a co-op campaign in there, and I'm down. Or not a co-op campaign, but add co-op to the campaign because it just makes sense with how the game is structured. But yeah, that's Pikmin. And also, do you think that says anything to like the whole Pikmin 4 rumors and how that's done? Because like that would be so weird. It would be so weird.
Part of me thinks that Pikmin 4 would just hate Pikmin and they just never clarified.
But the thing about that was he specifically, like in a more recent, it was like in 2017 or whatever, when
he did say specifically Pikmin 4.
Yeah, like they were promoting Hey Pikmin, and then he was like, oh yeah, and Hey Pikmin, and Pikmin 4 is done or whatever. And I think he mentioned something about it.
Yeah, he's like, it's practically
on
done.
Wii U. Yeah, like it was like a console thing. It wasn't like, hey Pikmin, it's something different. I'm making Pikmin 4. It's
maybe
pretty
we'll just
much
see aspects of it integrated into this port, just like we saw. What was it? Project Giant Robot essentially become Toy-Con. Yeah, right. And then also Star Fox.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe it's the sort of thing that like is done and they're sitting on it, or they're thinking about sitting on it, and like maybe they'll polish it up if this does really well and then release it. Like, testing the waters.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's that rumor. I mentioned Smash Brothers for a little bit. And speaking of Smash Brothers, Nintendo, well, I don't know. See, the thing is, like, Parker, he did this lineup and the show notes for this episode, and he put in the headline that Nintendo removed Smash. I don't know. That's not confirmed. It's just not there. We don't know why it's not there. A lot of the Smash community assumes that it's not there because the Smash Brothers Online is not great. And that seems to be backed up by a lot of the other games that are also not in Evo Online.
Yeah, I think this is more like Evo's call than Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense. I think you play Smash a lot, right? You've seen the online play. I think if you're
right,
I think it speaks for itself pretty much. That
it's not great.
Not always entirely reliable.
Yeah.
I think it's like the writing is on the wall. It makes sense. Obviously, someone needs to improve on their online service, and if they don't, then they're not going to be on these online fighting game tournaments.
And like, I think that for the most part, these games that are on this list are like, more beloved for their online modes. Some of them people still don't really like that much. Like, I hear people are like, Dragon Ball FighterZ is meh online. What game is that? No, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I think that's new. Like, that's a new game, isn't it? So we don't even know about that. Sam Show is like, meh. I think Soul Calibur, they say, is like passable. Like, none of these games are like get glowing reviews for their online play because they're fighting games, and fighting games are just inherently, just by how they work, not really reliable online, and nearly as reliable as they are locally, because they're all based on like, down to the nanosecond inputs, so it's not really like physically possible to get that completely right online. But Smash Brothers is like a particularly bad example of this. And I think that it's kind of like exaggerated a little bit because it still lives off of like the perception from Brawl, which was awful. Like Smash Ultimate is pretty bad in the worst case scenarios, but if you're playing against somebody that's like local, like they have their like Ethernet plugged in and like their internet's pretty good, you can get a decent enough session.
I've had solid matches with friends that live in Osaka, and I live in California. Not very close, but I think it works as long as people have stable internet, and presumably, like, if you're doing an Evo tournament, the people entering would want to have stable internet or would have stable internet. So
especially if it's like, I don't know how they're doing, because they just really announced the lineup. We don't know anything as far as like, and the days that the tournaments are happening, but we don't know anything about payout. We don't know if it even costs anything to enter yet. So like if somebody is playing for a $20,000 prize pool, they're not going to be happy if they lost to a laggy Luigi, like that's not going to be a thing that's going to look good on Evo or Nintendo really. But I almost like, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing for fans of Smash Brothers, right? Like I don't think Nintendo cares. Like I don't think they're like, oh, we got left out of Evo, we gotta fix our online, right? I think that it would almost be more likely that they would feel like that if they were included in Evo and they looked bad because of it.
Yeah, I think also too, Evo in itself this year just feels, I don't want to say pitiful, but like this feels more like an accommodation. Like, hey, we know people are looking forward to this, and so we're going to try our best to do something. But I mean, it doesn't feel like this was not necessarily taken seriously, but it feels more like, it's just like an accommodation to people who are really looking forward to this event. In the same,
it's like a consolation prize. It's like,
exactly.
You can't do this, so.
Like I see a lot of friends who are into like festivals and music festivals. All of those are canceled this year, but a lot of them are just like live streaming their sets, which obviously isn't as great as being in person, but it's more like an accommodation for their fans and stuff. I think the same essence here at Evo.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm pretty sad about it. I'm like, I don't keep up with the fighting game community at large, but I'm really big into like competitive Smash, and I usually watch like all the Smash tournaments, like the majors and stuff like that. And like I have favorite players and like like just the storylines that happen within the Smash community. And just watching the tournaments that have happened online, it's so sad, dude. It's so sad because the characters that rise to the top are completely different from the ones that rise to the top locally, and it's for gimmicky reasons, so it just feels like a waste of time watching this. It's always like some sort of Sonic or like a Rob or like like the characters that don't really rely on like quick inputs and like counterplay and stuff like that. They just play their game, and you as a fighter against them have to play their game with them rather than like playing neutral like normal and like all that fighting game stuff.
I mean the most recent thing I saw, because I feel like I'm very late to FGC in terms of like when things happen. I usually end up learning about things on my Twitter timeline, but the last thing I saw was like I forgot who it was, but someone was like stalling as a Sonic character and using the excuse as like to deteriorate the mental like
you're up to date because that's new.
So I was like, that Jesus, that's, oh my gosh, it's so like meta, like it seems like way too intricate in terms of like a tactic in fighting games. It just seems like that's
it's so toxic, dude. It's so toxic because and that video is tone deaf because that guy is just sitting there and he thinks he's like the coolest guy.
I feel like that
world.
is an accurate username.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're too slow. Yeah. But I mean, part of me wishes that they put Smash and Evo just so Nintendo would have a public standing reason to be like, yeah, fix your online. Did you see like that whole video or whatever from the tournament where what is the guy's name? The caster Jordan. Jordan, I don't remember his last name, but they like cut into the middle of an online tournament match to be like, hey, I know this looks laggy, but that's a recording issue. That's not a gameplay issue. The players aren't experiencing this. Everything's great. And when this game comes out, it's going to be great for you or whatever, right? And the other casters that are like Smash Brothers personalities like Vicky Kitty and Toph, I think was the other one that was there, are looking at him like, sure, like we can't say anything because we'll get in trouble, but I guess so. I think that if this was shown off in that way, like the fighter, like the competitive fighters playing in Evo would not like do that, like they're going to be very upfront about the fact that the game plays like garbage online.
And if anything, it would point a spotlight at Nintendo, but for the worst reasons, and if anything, it'll get them to do something.
Yeah, it would be pressure. But now them not being in Evo, I feel like is a sigh of relief for them more than anything because they didn't really want to be in Evo in the first place. So sad times. That's it for the news, though. Oh, no, we actually have one more thing. We have one more thing. Unreal Engine 5. Did you see all this stuff? Like, were you, like, watching it live? Or did you catch it? Well, actually, we have two things. Or did you catch, like, the live stream? Because I didn't see a live stream. I watched, like,
I watched
videos
it post, so I watched it, like, I watched the VOD of it. This was this also Thursday?
I think this was Wednesday.
I feel like so much stuff happened. There was, like, the Tony Hawk news,
Tony Hawk. I think Tony Hawk was Tuesday. This was Wednesday, and the Paper Mario and Ghost of Tsushima and all that stuff was Thursday.
But yeah, I did see it. It looks cool. I mean, it's impressive. I love the little changes to the engine. The thing I was most shocked about, it seems like a lot of people were surprised it's supported on Switch, which I mean, it's of course it is. It's probably just not going to be as nice as other
like
platforms,
it's not
obviously.
Look like this. Yeah.
But I'm excited for it. I think the thing I was initially most excited for, which isn't even the engine itself, but the policy change with Unreal 4, which was, I think before you would have to pay to remove the Unreal Engine logo at the beginning of your game, or you would pay a commission or like
a licensing fee.
Yeah, a licensing fee to Epic for using their engine in, let's say, an indie game or something. And to AAA publishers, and they'll probably just pay the fee or something and get rid of the engine logo or something. Yeah. So a lot of indie game developers, they would rather just keep the logo and avoid the fees. And I think what's good is that with the release of Unreal 5, Unreal 4 is like completely free up until the first $1 million. Which, if you're an indie game developer, probably never going to make $1 million on a game unless you're like Stardew Valley or something. Yeah. So I think from a business standpoint, I think it's really good for indie game developers who if they don't expect to make enough money to, break even or make a profit, they can use Unreal Engine 4 without like having to worry about commission fees or licensing fees.
It's a much smaller risk to invest in making a game with Unreal Engine 5, which I think like they benefit from regardless. And that really, that helps, that helps Epic in the sense that like them getting that first $1 million is like chump change compared to the marketing that they get from being able to say like, we support our indies, and like there's developers and stuff that would never take a risk on making a game, and you get to play that game now because we lowered the cost of entry to that developer. I think that can be more valuable to them in the long run than getting $1 million every once in a while from, or a couple $100,000 from a couple small indie developers,
Yeah, I mean, arguably this only really affects like companies like Square Enix who used Unreal for Final Fantasy VII, and then for those companies they can take that hit. And for the indies, this is better because like I had a father email me their indie game on Steam that launched this week, and his bio was like, I just turned 30, I'm about to have my first kid, and me and my best friend made this game. And then if, in the instance, if they were using Unreal Engine 4, this would be great because they wouldn't have to cover any of the licensing fees. So I think it's more meant for those smaller people who are just like a 1 to 2 person team. Right. And their indie game studio is their garage at their house or something.
That's sick. But as far as like, I don't know, we don't really know too much about like what this means for Switch. So I guess like on that end, we don't really have to cover like the ins and outs of it. But I guess like impressions, like visually, were you like, because we talked about this on the last episode of our podcast, where it's like the Xbox Series X reveal stuff is kind of underwhelming for me because it feels like everybody that like Jeff Keighley's and Phil Spencer's and stuff like that, like people that have seen next gen and stuff like that, they're really hyping up like the visual fidelity and stuff like that is really like a huge jump and all this other stuff, right? And as far as like what we see, it doesn't really feel like that to me. It feels like it's a noticeable jump for sure, but it's definitely not like like standard definition to high definition, or even like PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4. And this kind of underscored that for me more than anything. Because like Jeff Keighley, he retweeted IGN's article about how like next gen's not going to be as much about the graphics and don't expect like a huge graphics jump. And then he retweeted it and was like, this didn't age well or whatever. And I'm like, did it not? I feel like it aged pretty great, like this kind of just reiterated what I already thought about this. And it's kind of like, even in their like messaging, the Unreal trailers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at every new iteration of Unreal Engine and when they release these new tech demos, it feels like the new like book like box cover like features or whatever, the stuff that they like have sections of the video for, like this is how ambient occlusion works and stuff like that. That list gets smaller and smaller with every new iteration. With this tech demo, they highlighted two new features, and they were both pertaining to lighting, more or less. So it's like, and that's neat, and people are going to be able to make games that look better and all that stuff, and that's great. But it doesn't feel like this huge jump that they're marketing it as.
Yeah, I think I don't think you'll see the differences in next gen up until late 2021, because a lot of these games, like a lot of the third-party games, will be cross-gen, and that's why you see like Smart Delivery as a feature on Series X.
Right.
And that goes for most of the third-party stuff. For the first-party stuff, you probably on PlayStation you won't see at the get-go. Between like the people I know working in the industry, I've heard there's a Ratchet and Clank game going to be coming out pretty early on PS5. From I think it's the Insomniac studio in North Carolina. Right. But
that's the main one, right?
No, I think the main one's Burbank. Burbank is working on Spider-Man 2, as far as I know. But I don't think you'll see very big developments up until the first-party games. And like Microsoft or Phil Spencer specifically said that games like Hellblade 2 are running on Unreal Engine 2, and considering that game or that engine isn't out technically till 2021, I don't expect. You
mean Unreal Engine also?
Oh yeah, Unreal Engine.
Okay, yeah. Just
won't be out till next year.
Right.
And I think if you go back to see like the trailer for Hellblade 2, you'll see like the photorealism of like the facial animations of the main character Setsuna.
Right.
And I think it goes par and par with the demo we saw for Unreal 5 on PS5. But again, I don't think we'll see that till late next year. And a lot of like the games coming out at launch and in the first 6 months are going to be games that like are also on Xbox One X and PS4, but run at higher resolutions and maybe better frame rates on next gen.
And then as far as like the Unreal Engine 5 stuff for Switch specifically, I'm thinking that it'll probably be less about like the new graphical stuff that we'll expect to see and stuff like that, and more so just making it easier to take the next gen games that will benefit from that, and then scaling them down for Switch. And it'll like in a trickle down sort of way, it'll look better than it did on Unreal Engine 4 just because of like optimization and stuff like that. But it definitely won't be like anything like we're getting like per pixel shading and stuff like that, you know?
Exactly. It's like I mean, I don't know, what did Hellblade 1 run on? But if it was Unreal Engine 4, we saw that game come to Switch, you know, to some smaller scale.
Right.
And I'm not saying like expect, you know, the quality of like this tech demo on Switch, but maybe expect like Snake Pass 2 on Switch running on Unreal 5.
Right.
But more indies pretty much, rather than like next gen titles killed down.
Yeah. Gotcha. So I think that's all the Unreal Engine 5 stuff that's relevant to us. So we can move to the May NES and SNES games.
Yeah. Any thoughts on these?
I don't know, man. I think that there's still so many like NES. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel. There's not that many games that they can put on here. That's like, okay, I guess like what, like Earthbound Beginnings in the West. They can put that on there for NES. Other than that, I don't know. It's just a lot of third party stuff that we're probably not going to get because third parties would rather like do their own collections and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the only thing I was interested in this release was like Panel de Pon, which is, I'm assuming their attempt to get something like Tetris in this without having to license out Tetris as their service.
Which, I mean, I don't even know if they would have to, like, how excited would people be? Yeah, exactly. How excited would people be if they put Tetris on there? Because you already get Tetris for free as a Switch Online subscriber. Which, I mean, you don't get like single player Tetris unless you pay the like $10 or whatever.
Yeah, you have to buy the DLC.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like the Wild Guns is the other game for the SNES, and then there's 3 games. Yeah, and then Operation Logic Bomb, which I've never heard of either one of those games. Have you?
Nope. Panel de Pon's like the one game I really can pick out of these games because I played it a pretty a few times, pretty much. But nothing I'm too familiar with other than that. And it seems like on the Japan side, they're just catching up to us with like Super Punch Out barely coming out in Japan.
Well, that's more hype. I think Super Punch Out is like a known quantity, you know. Well, maybe it's not there. I don't know how big Punch Out is as a property.
But that was like a first month release, I think, for us when SNES came out. Right. So I think they're just catching up on more of the first party stuff in Japan.
Where's Donkey Kong Country at? You know?
I wonder if that's more like a thing to, like, if they're trying to emulate the Super FX chip.
Oh yeah. Well, the Yoshi's Island's on there.
Oh, that's true.
And Star Fox.
Yeah, Star Fox too. The Star Fox too.
So like, I don't know, man. That's kind of sad because there's a lot of SNES stuff that they could still release that would be hype, but they're not really.
Yeah, I mean, they released a lot of first party stuff, but there's still a lot of stuff they can do.
Right. NES, not so much. But the NES games, Rygar, I've heard of it, never played it. And then that was it for NES.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, if anybody wants to play Rygar and freaking Wild Guns,
just pay $20 a year.
There you go. Just keep playing F-Zero. You know, just like play Star Fox or Yoshi's Island. There's a lot of games already on there, but it's kind of sad that like it felt like when they changed their release schedule that it would be for the better, and they would like only release stuff when they could release stuff that would matter to us, you know.
They just bring out the N64 games already.
Yeah, that too. Which would you rather, if they were to do that, would you rather them like come out with like a couple and then like release, when they update them, release hype ones, or do the same thing that they're doing now and like give us 20 that are pretty hype in the beginning and then give us like one every 4 months that's like, oh yeah, I know what that game is.
Well, assuming they keep the online thing where they integrate online into the multiplayer ones, like I think it'd be fine if they release like them more sparingly. Like if you get Smash 64 in the first month and then
you think that we would get 4 players for that?
I would hope so. But I mean, it'd be cool to play like online multiplayer Smash, Kart, and like the Pokemon Stadium games.
Yeah, that would be. I'd be so down for that. I would love to do that. I've been wanting to play like the original Smash Brothers because I've randomly got the urge to play Smash 4 like a couple months ago, and I was like, oof. This is rough. So then, like, even more recent than that, I played Brawl for a little bit, and I was like, oof, this is also kind of rough, but it feels better than Smash 4, oddly enough. So I want to like play Smash 64 again to refresh my memory. And doing that on Switch would just make my life easier. I don't gotta like mess with like getting old systems, working on modern TVs and stuff like that. I don't even gotta think about that. But whenever we get that is whenever we get that. I don't know if if that's a huge focus for them right now, which is disappointing, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's the news. It's weird because like a couple weeks ago we said, and I brought this up again last week, that it's weird because we said, hey, this pandemic stuff is happening. We're probably not going to get a lot of news. And then every week we get a lot of news. So hopefully that trend keeps up. And then next week we get an announcement for Pikmin. That would be hype.
We'll have a new rumor too.
That true. Yeah. Like it'll come out. We'll get another game and then another rumor will pop up. Or it'll just be like a piece of the rumors that we already have. And then it's like, okay, if that one happened, then this one's probably going to happen too. But that's that on that. Now we can talk about my video, which was about games that Animal Crossing fans could play. And it's specifically titled Animal Crossing New Horizons fans because like those are like the people that bought a Switch for that game. Like just because Animal Crossing had a lot of hype and it's like the sort of thing that like you just need to have it right now. You know, it's the Pokemon Go of freaking the COVID-19 fiasco, you know?
Yeah.
So I just thought it would be a good idea to be like, hey, you're probably not a gamer if you bought a Switch just for this game. Here's some other games you probably would enjoy. And people commented on that with suggestions of games that they also think that people that are not gamers would comment on. But also, no, hold on. First, I want to bring up the fact that like, I knew when making this video that it would be a minefield because gamers do not like when you make videos about video games that are not targeted specifically at them. So like a thing that Nintendo focused on when in their Q&A section of their financial briefing was how Animal Crossing really bolstered the female demographics for Switch.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
bought my girlfriend a Switch Lite and a copy of Animal Crossing
yeah,
just for
and
Animal Crossing.
I've been seeing your escapades in that. I've been seeing the Instagram posts and stuff like that. Fun stuff. So I was like, yeah. So given that, I want to look at like other studies on like the female gamer market of like what they gravitate towards and talk about that. And then also just tangentially with like the value of Animal Crossing, like what the motivators are for playing through that game for people in general. And say like, okay, these games have similar motivators to those. There was a couple of commenters that were like, oh, this is social justice warrior stuff. Like, why would you make this? You're pandering, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I just want more people to play video games. And you, as a person that subscribed to a Nintendo YouTuber, probably know most of these games, you know? Like, you're probably already playing the games that I would say, like, hey, check this out. Or the franchises specifically, because Nintendo talked about making new games and existing franchises. So like you already know that Pikmin would be a game that you would probably like if you like this game, you know, like that sort of thing. So that was something that I wanted to address on that because we had a lot of a decent amount of people comment and that's like, oh, this didn't give me any suggestions or whatever, right? It's like, yeah, because you had a Switch and you didn't buy a Switch because you heard that Animal Crossing was a thing that existed yesterday. So let's get into the comments. Mega Man 087, who is regular here, what's up, Mega Man, says, now I know what you're thinking. Here's Mega Man harping on about Diddy Kong Racing again. However, I really believe that this would be a great release for casual players. Female demographic and pure nostalgia for a lot of people from the N64 era. The game provides the same style as Mario Kart, but in a different way. Cute looking characters, just like Animal Crossing, and they could expand on that character base as well. The adventure mode in the original appealed to those completionist types. Oh yeah, okay. So he's like going down a checklist because like there's a research firm that talked about like the key motivators for like the female demographic. Well, just gamers in general, but I focused on like these are the ones that how they rank with like women. Which is like they're really big on completion. So games like collectathons and stuff like that. They're really big on narrative. They're really big on characters. They're really big on design. So like being able to create your own character and stuff like that. Completionist types of players with the balloons and the multiplayer aspect was more competitive as unlike Mario Kart, if you're coming last, there isn't really amazing power-ups you can get to get you back to first place at the very last second. Now, I would be happy with the remaster, but I think a total remake with some of the old levels will go down a real treat. Oh yeah, he's from New Zealand. Maybe that's a New Zealand thing. Thoughts? I'm down for Diddy Kong Racing, and I think I say this every time he brings up Diddy Kong Racing. I'm down. I'm not like a super fan of that game, but I'm interested.
Yeah, I mean, I think Diddy Kong was more like a tactical-ish Mario Kart, I guess, in that sense. Sort of like how Crash also came off as like a more tactical.
I was just about to say that this is more like a Crash Team Racing like game, especially like with the adventure mode and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that sold really well, and that came to Switch too. And I mean, I don't know like the demographics or stuff, but I mean, I think it's a very casual game in the sense that it can come off as a party game, and it can also be more competitive than something like Mario Kart.
Yeah, I mean, just anecdotally, whenever like when we went to PAX, it was like this whole thing. Our friend Dan Seibert brought his wife with him to PAX, who's Alyssa Be Crazy on Twitch. Check her out. And we were just joking around about how like games, like if you're going to like introduce a spouse or like partner or a female friend or family member or whatever, a game, there's a few games that are just easy gimmies. You can say, hey, check out Stardew Valley. Hey, check out Harvest Moon. Check out The Sims, check out Animal Crossing, Mario Kart. And that became like a meme on Wolf Den because, you know, Wolf Den, Bob Wolf and stuff like that. Bob Wolf, his roommate, when they were moving into their new apartment, he was like, yo, we got to like get a big TV for the babes. And then Bob was like, yeah, put the N64 in there because they just, every time they come over his house, like every time his friends come to his house, that's what the women want to play is N64, Mario Kart, and that's what they're in for, because like that's a game that they know. It's an approachable game. It's not too like gamer heavy, like I gotta know all these inputs and be like really good at the game. It's easy to play. So yeah, I think Diddy Kong Racing has a similar appeal. I think that it's probably harder, for like a lack of a better term, but it's approachable enough for sure. Dante Lant. How do you know how I say that?
It's Lant. Lant.
Huh?
I think it's Lant.
Lant. Okay. Said, if anything, I would recommend them to try out Rune Factory 4 special for farm. Is that like it's Rune Factory 4 special. He didn't capitalize that. For farming and building your town while having a story in it as well. I would also recommend the Altair. Is that how I say that?
Altair? Atelier. That
series that makes you make items from alchemy, and it is a lighthearted RPG that has characters that have personal goals. Yeah, RPGs, they were big in the demographics and like in those studies and stuff like that. It was like it wasn't top 5 for genres, it was top 10. It was like number 6 was JRPGs. So that'll work. Quinn N says, as a female who bought the Switch for Animal Crossing New Horizons, I would recommend Little Dragon's Cafe, West of Loathing, Katamari Damacy Reroll, Donut Country, Untitled Goose Game, Oxenfree. I hope my comment helps at least even just one person find a game they might like.
Yeah, one of the games I bought my girlfriend was Katamari Damacy Reroll, so yeah. I can confirm that. And she also enjoyed Goose Game in Donut County.
Yeah, Goose Game, I think, is a really good game for that, for sure. I never played Donut County.
It's fun. It's also on mobile devices.
Yeah, that's where I first found out about it. It was like I saw that game and I was like, I want to play that. And then I was like, I'll play it when it comes to Switch. And then it came to Switch and then other stuff was happening. So I was like, maybe later. Okay. Katamari, though, I'm down for that. I like that game. I think that's a great pick. Untitled Goose Game, again, yes. That's a meme game. That's like a game that everybody needs to play just to understand the meme. Oxenfree, that's a game that I don't know. I can't really say anything about that. Never played that.
I'll say right now, if you have a PC that can run games, if you can get a coupon right now, I think that's like $10 off 15 or more on the Epic Game Store, and Untitled Goose Game is $20 on there. So you can get up for $10.
I didn't even know it was on the Epic Game Store. I knew it was on Xbox. PlayStation now? Is it on PlayStation? I think so. Yeah. It's on PlayStation because I remember Xbox like kind of like won up the PlayStation's announcement by saying like it's Game Pass.
Yeah. It's like they announced it on State of Play or something. It's a little bit afterward or something.
Right. So yeah, I think those are good recommendations. Angie Chan says, I think the best game Nintendo can introduce to the Switch is Nintendogs Plus Cats or more. It's not just for girl gamers, but also for the younger audience that Animal Crossing New Horizons has brought in. Simple, cute, and relaxing. I agree. I think that like as far as like the amount of people that were brought in by Animal Crossing, Nintendo made it sound like Animal Crossing more so brought in like older gamers, funnily enough, and mostly women. It was like I think the breakdown overall for sales is like 60-40, so 60% men, 40% women. But then when they go into like the people that didn't own Switch beforehand, it's like women between the ages of like 20 and 30.
I mean, just based on like my Instagram feed of my friends who are like in their mid-20s, I can confirm that too.
Yeah, same. So there's that. Cool returns. We read a question from him from the Q&A segment. He returns and says, if they bought a Switch for Animal Crossing New Horizons, then casual, chill games are the obvious answer. I would recommend he has a long list. Stardew Valley, Little Dragon's Cafe, but we have some crossover here. Ring Fit Adventure, Moonlighter. Oh, I should have said something about Ring Fit Adventure, but Moonlighter, Super Mario Odyssey, not very casual, but still a chill game. Would you say Super Mario Odyssey is not casual?
I had a friend whose son is, I think, on the spectrum slightly, and using the assist mode, he was able to play and finish Odyssey by himself. And this kid's like 6 years old, so I think it's
Yeah, I think that game is like a middle ground. It's like a happy medium. Pokemon is a very chill game as long as too much dialogue doesn't get you impatient. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I would say Yoshi's Crafted World, but I don't think that it's worth it. Oof, rip, dude. The upcoming Clubhouse games. And last but not least, Isabel's favorite, Doom. That'd be wild. Like, what if like that marketing worked for the same audience that bought Animal Crossing, like the new gamers and stuff like that? If they were like, oh yeah, Doom Eternal is also a game that's recommended near this, I'm gonna buy that too.
I think when I got Animal Crossing and Doom for review on the same day, so while my girlfriend was playing New Horizons, I was switching between Doom and Animal Crossing.
Did you get Doom through Bethesda or Nintendo?
Bethesda. It's not. I don't think Eternal's out on Switch yet.
Oh yeah,
so I was playing on Xbox.
Because I think Dan Seibert, who I brought up before, I think he got it, but he got it early.
So I don't think it's like I don't think there's even gameplay of it on Switch yet.
It's not. It's not on Switch. It's not on Switch.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking because I know Nintendo is they do early releases or early review copies a lot less often than the publisher usually does. So interesting. But yeah, that's it for my video. That's all the comments on that. So we can go to the last segment, which is Q&A. Now we got to sift through the questions that aren't that aren't Paper Mario ones. F-Zero Kid Falcon, another regular here, says, as a kid, what was your favorite and least favorite thing about school? My least favorite was lunch because the food was awful. My favorite thing was recess because our group of friends would trade Pokemon cards or play Game Boy games via cable, mostly Mario Bros. Deluxe. When the Game Boy Advance came out, we played Mario Kart Super Circuit, hashtag F-Zero, Maximum Velocity, and Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. It was a simpler time. I wasn't even allowed to play Game Boy and Game Boy Advance at school. Well,
you would get taken away, I think.
Yeah.
At least at my school.
There was like certain days where they'd be like, everybody, like, this is game day. Everybody could bring their Game Boy or whatever. And certain teachers, like, once you finish your work, they were cool with it. But for recess and stuff like that, that was like a no-go because people were like stealing Pokemon cards and stuff, so you just weren't allowed anymore. But favorite thing about school,
I think least favorite was probably waking up.
I
liked school. I hated waking up.
I liked the more like creative classes like art and like once I got later in school was like music and stuff like that. I liked those type of classes. So I would probably say those are my favorite parts. Least favorite, I think I agree with you. The waking up part is rough. It's rough.
Yeah, I guess I would agree. I like the more creative classes I took in high school, like multimedia production and like cooking. But that wasn't until like my very last years of high school.
Yeah, like I had like I had music and art classes all throughout like school, just generally. But once I got into high school, there were more like courses that were like basically like YouTuber 101. So those are cool. But that was much later. That wasn't really like Game Boy Advance era, you know. So, but as far as like recess was meh.
I don't feel like I ever actually played like during recess. I think I just walked and talked.
Yeah, because like when you have recess, there's also like gym class, and I did a lot of that stuff in gym. So like I don't want to like play stuff again. You know, it's like let's play more dodgeball at recess. So just chilling out and talking for recess most of the time, unless it was raining. When it was raining or snowing or whatever, it was hype.
Because we don't get snow in California.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. And also rain, I guess.
Yeah, it rains like once a year here.
Yeah. But for me, when it rained and snowed and we couldn't go outside, teachers were more likely to be like, yeah, man, play your Game Boy if you have it. So that was cool. This is a Mario question. Oh, Parker. Parker has a question. He said, if you were a video game, which one would you be?
I think my answer is Persona. The next Persona. A lot of my friends arguably have mentioned that it seems like I would be up for like just be another Persona game. Yeah, be like a confidant or something. And I feel like I would agree based on like just a lot of things that happened in my life. So I would say Persona 5 and/or the next Persona game.
That's it. Hashtag Luis for Smash 7, I guess. Because this isn't Smash 6 according to Sakurai. Or this is Smash 6 according to Sakurai, I should say. Ultimate. As far as me, I don't know. If I was a video game, what would I be? I don't know, Mario Maker. Something that's like just dedicated to making things in the game, because that's just what I do with my free time. If I'm not playing Smash, I'm making something. So probably something like that. Or Dreams or something, you know.
Something just all about creating things.
Yeah.
And I think we have the last question from Duncan.
Yeah. He says, "Yo, what is one genre that Nintendo hasn't stepped into that you'd like to see them try, and what franchise would you like to see them try it with?" I think a 4x4 4x. What is that? 4x strategy game like Civilization, but set in the Mushroom Kingdom.
I think it's for example.
Oh, wait, what? I don't know about that. He says, "I think for example."
Maybe a 4x4, like a grid.
Yeah, probably that. Like 4x4 strategy game like Civilization, but set in the Mushroom Kingdom. Tell me in the comments, Duncan, or in Discord. Or Hyrule would be pretty neat. Let's see. What's a genre that Nintendo has not done something that I think that is I want them to do more like they never did a first person shooter. I guess like in a way Metroid kind of is a little bit.
Yeah, kind of technically.
But like not really. So if they I would probably want to see what they would do there. Like what their Splatoon is for first person shooters.
Yeah, I'm trying really hard to think now which genre they haven't tackled. Because they've done sports, they've done racing, they've done music rhythm in terms of like Mario DDR.
Man, Wii Music hype.
Oh, Wii Music too, I guess. I'm trying to think like what Sony and Microsoft are doing that they haven't done.
But they've done. So I mean, technically, I guess they haven't really done like a narratively driven, like like action game like what Sony does. Because like we have like Breath of the Wild, but I wouldn't really say
the closest thing, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even really say that that's that. Like it has a much bigger focus on like gameplay than it does story.
I would say like a creation game, but then there's Mario Maker.
True.
God, this is tough. It's a genre they haven't tackled. I feel like first person would have been the cop up, but then you brought up Metroid. That was a good point.
Yeah. See, the only reason why I say my pick will probably be first person because every time I say like Metroid is a shooter, Metroid fans, like hardcore, like Metroid fans are like, "That's not a first person shooter. It's an adventure game," or whatever. Like whatever pretentious answer is.
Yeah. Huh. I'm
pulling up a list of video game genres in case I just am not thinking of one.
Air
yeah,
combat?
They have all the like general ones. They have Star Fox.
I was like thinking Kid Icarus. I was like, Yeah, I don't know. Is there a genre they haven't tackled? I don't think so. I think they've tackled.
Yeah, like all the general ones, like they have something in. Like on this list, games. It says action game, action adventure games, role playing games, simulation games, strategy games, sports games.
Oh, I got one. A visual novel. They haven't done.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Parker wants them to make a Splatoon visual novel.
A visual novel about. I feel like most visual novels are dating sims.
Oh yeah, like the meme characters. Everybody wants like the Waluigi dating sim.
Yes, there is the Waluigi dating sim. That's what it would be.
There it is.
They have yet to make.
That's the answer. That's the only thing they've never made. So there's our podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed it. You can check Luis out at his channel, linked in the description, and also on Twitter at Luis_GVM, right?
Yes.
That's your Twitter. It's linked, all that stuff in the description. There it is, man. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, man.
I want you to come back more often. But
I'll
like
try.
it's always weird because like we're like, okay, hey, let's do this episode, and then stuff happens. Like the last time you were supposed to come on, all this happened. So then that threw schedules all out of whack, and then it was like, okay, well, we gotta wait a couple weeks to like figure out like our new normal, and then here we are. So hopefully we figure out our new normal for longer, you know, we get back to regular normal. Actually, hopefully that happens.
See what the world wants in a few
and
months.
Then
I guess
we can make it happen more often. Hopefully Parker will be back around then. It'll be a good old grand time. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good day. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye.
See you later, guys.